Hey everybody, Kingsley Ma here, Director of RE/MAX of Western Canada. Thought we'd try something new here, and we will be doing a carpool interview. And I'm about to pick up our special guest for today, and off we go. Here we are.
Oh, hey, Kingsley.
Hello, Katie.
Oh, fancy meeting you here. I'm good.
Well, thanks for coming along. You know, traffic's been horrible lately in Kelowna.
I know, it's getting
And
bad.
now that we can take the HOV lane.
I know, just helping the RE/MAX family out anytime.
Yeah, I've heard you guys have been doing a lot of good things at RE/MAX Kelowna there.
I heard that you heard that. Yeah.
Well, we look after what you guys are doing, right?
It's amazing.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about what your role there with RE/MAX Kelowna and what you guys have in terms of, agents and so forth?
Sure. Well, I joined the team at RE/MAX Kelowna about just a little over a year ago, and our owners, Jerry Redmond and Peter Kirk, were looking to fill and expand their training platform. And by serving 180 some odd agents at the time, it was, drawing on their capacity. So they brought me on board to head up building and delivering the training program. So I'm in a managing director role right now, and hopefully we'll have my broker's license done by the end of January. So really excited about that. Wish me luck. And yeah, so I think, although managing director is a broad scope, I'd like to call myself Chief Cheerleader.
Chief Cheerleader.
Yeah.
That's an awesome name for it. So you guys have over 180 people there.
We do.
So what's the demographic like for your office?
Sure. We have actually 3 offices and a satellite office. So our main office holds most of the agents, and management team has their offices there. We also have an office on the west side, which we support, one at Big White Ski Resort. And we're just opening that up right now, actually. Ski season's just around the corner. And then we service downtown as well. So we do have a satellite office in the core.
Awesome.
Yeah. So in terms of demographics, I loved that question, because really our demographics are all about, if you want to sell real estate, and you're productive and you're professional, everyone really contributes to that demographic. So we have anyone from, age 25 all the way to 70. But when I do describe demographics, I really talk about, just from the wisdom side of things. Yeah. And someone coming new into the business these days who's young and tech savvy has a lot to contribute about, possibly best practices in terms of revising habits from the wise. Yes. And those people who, for example, have had a 30-year career, they've seen a lot of things go down. And so we've really created this kind of, I call it a circular environment whereby everybody contributes to that.
Everybody can mentor everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. We
call on people, so the spokes in the wheel. So if there's a subject matter expert, I'm always happy to say, you know what, that person has a great question for that person, because they're killing it in that stream, for example. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So, it's training becomes a hot topic lately, especially when the market's, not as hot as it used to be.
Yeah.
So, the deals just don't come together as easily as the agents are accustomed to in some point. So, so training becomes a critical part, because it does help. At the end of the day, we offer what agents offer to their clients is knowledge, right?
You got it.
And they got to, continue to learn the best practices and how to sell their home at the highest price and so forth. So what kind of training do you offer, since you have a wide range of demographic in the office?
Yeah, so, if we look at the philosophy behind all of what we do, it's really about learn more to grow more, right? Learn more to earn more, and learn more to give more. So, with that concept in mind, we really do help you grow as you go. Obviously, this is a long game, this career, right? And so what we try and do is get people, off the ground, off the runway faster than if they were trying to do it on their own, philosophically. And that looks like a bunch of things, whether it's tools and scripts and dialogues that, are the basis for making that their own, versus having to, I call it, create the box from the beginning, so they can leverage all of that competency that we have, all the way through to on any given week, it could be death by training, really.
Wow.
The role that I joined the capacity in was really from the perspective of last year, and every time it comes around to this time of year in November, we do a formalized business planning session and help people look at where are they taking their business in the next year based on the reflection of what's happened in the business this year.
Right.
And so from that, people felt that that's great, now what? Because it can be a lonely business.
Right.
There was a demand from the group of people who were in this course to have a more frequent touch base with their colleagues and accountability group. So we actually started a monthly mastermind group following that business planning to really reflect, because when you get to the end of the year, it's really hard to look back if you aren't looking at those lines in the sand that you set for yourself throughout the year. And it gives us a chance to kind of navigate through the fluctuations in the business throughout the year. And that's been a really powerful kind of initiative that we've done, because it serves the people in the room who are feet on the street. Right. I'm out of selling now, but I take a facilitation role and I'll draw on people's expertise when, some people are saying, here's the highlights I had this month, here's the struggles. And so I'll say, oh, that's not unlike someone else. Can you share with that? And so there's built some informal connections that way to be like, you're the guy who's mastering cold calling. I'm going to ask you those questions, for example, right?
So some of the best trainers or the best people that actually are in the office.
You got
itself.
it. Yep. And so the whole goal is like, we don't want you to have to start from scratch, right? If somebody's done something before you and you want to take it to the next level, we kind of look at it from that perspective. So that's one of the initiatives that we're heading into our 12th month of doing that now. So we're really excited about, what that's done and the camaraderie it's built amongst our agents. In addition to that, we feature, as I mentioned, some subject matter expert requirements come out of those meetings. And so it's allowed me to approach agents who have, for example, been on a long journey to chairman award, at that level. And so what has really happened in your life and your business to get you there? What were the key milestones? Right. What were the crossroads? What decisions did you have to make? Who did you have to be? And, hearing that from their colleague helps them really get an appreciation for what this business is like long term, but also allows those agents, when they're working together, to have some human aspect to the agent on the other side when they're trying to put deals together.
It's not just theory. No. It's actually someone practicing.
You got it. Yeah. And so on top of that, we also have a weekly, again, you can show up to our office and training is going on formally or informally all the time. So Wednesdays is a standing weekly training session in our classroom, and that looks like a lot of things. So you mentioned the shifting market, and so we adapt to what's really happening in the market. Yes, we set out a plan for the year, but for example, when we saw the new rules come in, the tax implications, that it was going to be harder for someone, to get off that ground or to maintain or improve their business, we did a session called Shift, 12 tactics for still killing it in this market when there is a shift, right?
Yeah.
And, all the way to, using Instagram for business. So in those instances, sometimes I've had to learn how to teach that course within 24 hours because it's necessary. And sometimes I'm leveraging, again, some subject matter experts. So that's been a really nice way to have people, no matter what they're doing in the week, they always know for an hour a week they can work on their business in some capacity. So that's another piece we've implemented this year. And from that, the requirement to have one-on-one coaching, because there's specifics after the general training, has been something that we've tried to set out as a way to be forward thinking as well, because people are in different areas, right? Or they'll have started maybe on that concept but want to take it to the next level. I'll use Instagram again for an example. Some people didn't even have an account prior to coming to the course, right? So I have to adapt for where are people at in their business and how are they using the tools that we deliver to them. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can't forget obviously about on demand. So we are constantly referring people to the RE/MAX University, specifically if they're a productive agent just joining RE/MAX for the first time. New to RE/MAX is for them. They might not be a new agent, but how can I configure my business around this brand? That's been a huge part that we've leveraged as well, so that they've got a message coming straight from corporate, and so that they're and I would say also from the on-demand perspective, we realized that we weren't going to necessarily get our communication through all of 180 agents all of the time at the same time, and that people would be tuning in and tuning out of some of our messages, our communication, kind of our training. So what we did was we created a private Facebook communication portal, because everybody is on their phone these days, right?
So
and
they can discuss as a close group within the office.
Yeah, we're not going to take away from somebody being on a listing appointment to make sure that they're reading an email. They have an opportunity to go into, for example, the Facebook communication portal and find out everything that's gone on that day. We load our meeting minutes there, and it's been really interactive. And sometimes we post a question and say, how would you respond to this?
Right.
And we're getting interaction that way as well, to take some of our tools and pieces to the next level as well. We load all of our recordings there, so they can go into Facebook anytime and do their own training.
So everything is stored in one place, so that everyone can access it. Yeah.
There was a demand for that.
Great.
So
it's tough because you guys have a larger office, right? It's hard to get everybody to attend everything.
Yeah.
But it's good that you guys have it in one place so they can still access it.
Yeah. So I think, on that front, if I'm looking back, we've come a long way in a year. And a lot of it is really driven by the agent's needs. We're very, open to collaboration. Obviously, we have compliance training. We just finished a whole new FinTrack training course today.
That is the fun part.
Yeah, and so that is mandatory and standard training that we do. But we've embellished that with, the complement that we have in our management team is really about, Jerry has been really great in his subject matter expertise with lots and developments and assignments. Nobody really comes to me for that. So we can all do each other's job when we're not in the room, but we do have, our areas that we do excel in. So, Peter's been our contract person, compliance, etc. And I'm more on the sales and marketing side and messaging and branding.
So each of you got a niche that
you got it.
It's got a strength that your agents can go to, right?
Yep. And so we've just brought on Daniel Daniluk as well as a new managing broker, and we have to give him a lot of props for pulling off our new FinTrack policy and delivery of that training today as well. So, we're
part of the
strength.
I guess having a larger real estate company, its communication is always a challenge for a lot of larger offices. Mm-hmm. But you guys seem to do it really well, and it's one of the core strengths that you guys have. So, how do you get everybody engaged? I mean, there's different types of realtors. Either they've been around for a long time or someone new coming in. How do you get them engaged? Like, what kind of, I guess, aside from training, which we kind of talked about, but is there any activities or anything like that they can get together and network? Because at the end of the day, networking is, very important part of our business itself, right?
I can think of a few things a week there, Kingsley. So when I'm not building the training, we're typically planning events. It's really, I think we should change our business cards to say we're event planners as well. And so that looks like a lot of things. If you know RE/MAX, we have the mind share in the community. So I'll start with that. I mean, if there's an event going on, RE/MAX is there. We are a title sponsor to, anything that we participate in, we are a title sponsor to. So we have decked out, people would know us at Prospera Place, for example, our major concert, sports arena, etc. We're everywhere in there.
WHL plays.
Yeah, go Rockets. And so that's kind of, people would have an impression about us there. And so we try to leverage communication to the community about where we're showing up in the weekends, or we'll have contests. But what the nice part about that is, it actually turns internal to our agents to say, oh yeah, that's happening this weekend as well. So not only are we communicating internally, we're celebrating externally, which helps give our agents some pride. So I would say from, community perspective, there's that. Internally, we're constantly celebrating our people, whether that means we're sending them little thank you cards for having showed up at our top producer panel, for example, or, their birthdays. On top of that, from an engagement perspective, we recently had a cook-off, a barbecue cook-off.
A barbecue cook-off.
A lot of our agents have, specific hobbies outside of work, and we like to leverage that. And so there's a lot of agents who talk about food. So we invited them for Rib Fest, and there was, secret voting, and we announced a winner, and they got a trophy. And so that really helped, people, well, you get to people's hearts through food, first of all, but it also gave people an appreciation for, like, who are these people outside of work, right? I'm just planning our second annual ski day, and I'll share with you the comments I had after doing the first one about, I never really knew that agent until I was, spending half a day with them on the slopes and the chairlift. I got an appreciation for kind of, again, who they are outside of business, and it just really makes doing business with them so much easier.
Because at the end of the day, it is a people's business, right? You
got it. And don't tell Jerry and Peter this, but they're both away in the next couple of weeks, and so I've been authorized to do a TGIF when the bosses are away. We get to play, so there's another piece. And
I better go to that party. Yeah,
I always say that when conversations are happening, business is flowing. Yeah. And I'll tell you, our business, we do a third of the business right now. We've got a third of the market share within our region, and it's no wonder, because we just have constant communication between people. So that's kind of what I would say about that.
Seems like a fun office to be in. Not just, you guys, I know you guys work really hard, but you guys also play very hard too, which
we do.
Which is a good thing to have, right? I mean, it's you want people to not only work but participate in the things that the office does.
Yeah, and most people, I would say, started real estate because they wanted a better lifestyle. They wanted some time freedom, and so we get that. There's a lot of our agents who go away for December and January and come back and are pedal to the metal for 6 months just to make sure that they can continue to do that. And that's great to see.
Awesome. I think that kind of gives our viewers a little bit about what Remax Kelowna does. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that we can go forever. We can talk just for a couple more hours on what you guys do.
Kelowna isn't that big, Kingsley.
Yeah, but what you guys do, we can go for hours.
Yeah.
I'll run out of streets to roads to drive.
That's true.
Because Kelowna isn't that big. So yeah.
No, we're happy to share, and
thank you. It's been great.
I'm happy to also receive best practices. So if anybody out there wants to help us out, we're always looking to improve our offerings as well, and so grateful for allowing us to join you today. And in fact, I have one question for you, Kingsley. Like, if I were to turn on your radio, given this is carpool karaoke, what song might you have queued up right now? Can I play with it and see what happens?
Sure. This is
We're gonna give James Corden a little run for his money here. So let's see. What do you got on your radio, Kingsley? Oh, of course you do.
I love Britney,
I'm sure you do. Oh man, I'm not surprised right now. I can't wait to hear what you sing.
It's like, this is embarrassing.
I got you, Kingsley. Ready? Oh baby, baby, oops, I did it again. I went with your heart, got lost in the game. Oh baby, baby, oops, you think I'm in love. Then sent from above, I'm not that innocent.
Oh no.
Isn't that good?